And welcome back. I'm posing like this so I can just do this as the thumbnail. To Zanpakuto Creation Series. And today we'll be talking about my Zanpakuto. The Zanpakuto that if I were to think on it and to envision what my Zanpakuto would look like, what that Zanpakuto would look like. This suggestion comes to us from Phantom Wolf and Lord High Admiral Squid. Now, this is not my Zanpakuto. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you were to ask me what Zanpakuto out of the series I would want and not just go for the straight hacks one, I would take Benihime. I've loved Benihime. This was a gift from my girlfriend last Christmas. It's metal too. It's like it doesn't have a true blade on it, but it does have a false blade. So it isn't truly sharp, but it would not feel good to be hit by this thing. No, I never noticed this thing in the anime, or the manga, so I'll have to pay attention next time I'm reading or watching it. But I love Benihime, and that's why I decided to pose with that for the thumbnail, because I also have Tensa Zangetsu over there too. If I could, I probably would just like start collecting these. Maybe for Christmas each year, I'll kind of reply to my girlfriend, I might want one of these or one of those. If I were to think of which one I'd want to get next, ooh, that's a good question, because most of them are just straight katanas. There's nothing too ornate or special about them. However, Katen Gyotsu, that'd be pretty kind of cool. Get two scimitars, that'd be pretty sweet. Zabimaru would be kind of cool. Kenpachis might be cool. But anyway, I digress. So, what would my Zanpakuto be? Now, I have to look at myself as this is one of those kind of looking in and outward kind of things, where do I think my Zanpakuto would be hacks? Do I think it would be a very stupid basic ability? What about me as a person, as my soul is represented in the blade, and therefore that ability? And I thought on it, and I've always said to myself, when I do self-inserts for series, be it Naruto, My Hero, whatever, I did in Dragon Ball, I would never just make myself a hacked character. Because everyone wants to do that. Everyone wants to be a badass. But that's not what I want to do, at least for every series. I can guarantee you, when I do, say, like the Naruto and the My Hero one, oh yeah, I might hacks myself out a little bit in those. But those are worlds and stories I can definitely hacks myself out in. Bleach is a little bit more difficult. But that being said, what type of Zanpakuto I have? Well, I think a lot of people tend to go either with the Elemental or the Keto type when I asked that question. I did a poll a while back. In fact, let me see if I can find that poll right now. It should still be there. I haven't done a poll recently in a while. Maybe I'll do a new one for shits and giggles. Let's see here now. So, let's see here. Last poll I did was basically figuring out what Zanpakuto Naruto would have. That kind of was overwhelmingly, he got Ichimonji, as we saw. We'll do that again when I go back to doing the Zanpakuto videos, so keep your eyes out for those. Let's see here. So, let's see. Oh, yep, Elemental by 56% of the 299 people who voted went with an Elemental type. And then a Melee type, surprisingly, was the 21%. Now, let's be clear. This is the one that people think they would have, not the one they would want. Actually, very few people apparently think themselves as a Keto type. In fact, it was out of the 5, it was the second to last. More people think they'd have a living creature type than a Keto type, which is very interesting. I myself don't see myself as a melee type. I do think my personality, who I am as a person, lends itself a lot more to actually having an ability. So it came down to Keto or Elemental. And I had to think on it. And for me personally, I am probably closer to an Elemental type, specifically the type of element I would be manipulating. So the type of it'd be Katana. I'm a Katana guy, straightforward. The release command is way upon. Not way upon this one, but way upon someone's shoulders. Things along those lines. The name translated would be Endless Road, and the bankai would be oh darn it all, the something Endless Road. What did I write here? God, Eternal? Was that it? No, it wasn't Eternal. Oh, Rain Drenched. Sorry, it was Rain Drenched Eternal Road, which translates into Orari no Namich, or no Namich. I think that's it. As the Shikai, Orari no Namich. And then the bankai, oh boy. Omega for Sogo Endore. Oh God, Endor Ryu Roto. Oh God, yeah. And I'm using Google Translates for this. So, okay, the spirit of that being said would be something akin to just an older man. This guy is from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, or Full Metal Alchemist anyway. So it'd be an older gentleman, not necessarily like this old, but just like some guy probably in his mid 40s or mid 50s, very grizzled, very tired looking. And the form is really the sword doesn't change too much, but it does look like it kind of warps and bends at points while you look at it. Now, the reason for all of this, because of the element, is the fact that as a person, and this is the beauty of kind of like talking, is you get a little bit of insight to how at least I view myself, is that I am someone who kind of carries the weight of the world on his shoulders sometimes. Not all the time, not everything is on my shoulders, and I know for a fact not everything has to be on my shoulders, but I will take on the burdens and problems of other people a lot more. I've done that for years, through my friends, through my family even. And I've, smiled and I've continued on forward. I've pushed through a lot. And sometimes that's healthy, sometimes that's not. And I recommend that, and I recognize that completely. And maybe it's something I shouldn't always do, and I don't always do it. But it's something where I feel like, I have endured a lot in, the short time of my, I'm only 32 now. I've endured a lot more than I probably should have at 32. And I'll continue to endure stuff, because that is part of life, is to endure. And, life's, as Rocky put it in Rocky Balboa, the sixth movie, which, good movie, by the way. I think that one, I think, gets noticed, but I don't think it's quite as loved as it should be. That's a good one. But no one's going to hit harder than life. It will punch you, it'll beat you down and keep you on your knees if you let it. It's not about how hard you get hit, though. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How many hits you can take and keep moving forward. And that's how winning is done. I'm butchering the quote roughly, but that's generally the gist. And for me, that's kind of how I feel. It's like, every time things start to go a bit more my way, something comes in and kind of tries to throw a curveball in it. Now, I can either just lie there and take it, or I can do something about it, get it out of the way, and keep moving forward. That is how I kind of feel my life is. A lot of fluctuations, but ultimately towards a good end goal, I hope. So I have no more imagery because it's hard to basically depict something like this. Because I believe the element I can control is gravity. Now, we've seen a lot of zanpakuto within fair few elemental types. We've seen zanpakuto that control fire, ice, water. We haven't really seen one that controls wind, though. But, I mean, Katen Kyotsu kind of has some wind abilities, but they're child's games, so it's not really the same. But, we even see one at least in the anime, and even in the actual canon. Oh, God, I can't remember it. Good morning! The stupid Soul Reaper who was Ichigo's replacement. He had an Earth-type manipulator. We've even seen darkness. We've seen, we know there's there's light-based ones as well. Excuse me. In the anime, we've seen one that kind of can manipulate space to some degree. But we haven't seen anything that manipulates time, save for Baragon's little time dilation field around him. But gravity is one that it's like, why wouldn't there be a Zanpakuto that controls gravity? There's probably Zanpakuto. For any ability you can actually think of, there probably is a Soul Reaper who could manifest that ability in a Zanpakuto. And for me, yeah, gravity. Now, it wouldn't be just like straight on, like I control the gravity per se, because there's buildup. Otherwise, what the hell would the bankai be? But no, it would be something where, just, swinging or manipulating the blade, I would be manipulating the gravity in an area. Similar to kind of how Kira can manipulate an opponent's weight by striking them, doubling the weight. Actually, I think even by the time skip in New Breaths from Hell, he actually now it's like 10 times, allegedly. So, yeah, like when he strikes, he manipulates the weight of something, kind of like gravity. But here, I wouldn't necessarily have to strike something, although it could definitely help. I just have to, like, swing the sword, and immediately gravity could shift. Someone could be standing right in front of me, all of a sudden, while gravity was weighing down on them, now it's weighing on the side, and they kind of go flying forward until they adjust themselves. Then I can manipulate it again. They go flying up. I could I could remove all the gravity if I needed to, and just cause people to be floating. Because even though they are standing in the air, they're still bound by the laws of physics. Technically, they're still got gravity pushing against them. So, and that would be like kind of my line in fight if I'm going up against, say, like if I was in the fake Kurakura town and I'm even just a lieutenant, and Gin like tries to pull some shit. I'm like way upon insert Owari no na Owari na Mich. Or Michi. Michi sounds a little better, but I don't think that's how it's translated. Mich. And then, I just, when the blade just suddenly goes like, oh my, you're quite difficult, aren't you? It's like, you have no idea. And then the blade just comes out, almost gets me, but I just warp the gravity and I kind of just push myself to the side and then just fire a concentrated shot of gravity, like a blade of gravity, if you will. And just kind of cave in my opponent's, that's the kind of basic stuff you could see with the Shikai. The Bankai, as we've seen with elemental types, the few we've seen a Bankai for, particularly Hyorin Maru, Gonryo Maru, Ryujin Jika, it can vary. Sometimes you can be clad in your element. Ryujin Jika and Hyorin Maru are perfect examples of this. But with Gonryo Maru's Bankai, which its name is escaped me for some reason right now, that wasn't the case. We're guessing that Sabisuke, Chojiro Sabisuke, was able to just hold his blade up, activate the Bankai. Maybe his blade disappeared, kind of like Zenbon Sakura does, and he was commanding just straight on lightning affecting the weather on that. So for me, I think mine would be a bit more of the latter, where I'm not clad in my element, although I could definitely be. I could make myself basically like an invisible shield of gravity that just repels. Like the essence of gravity at this point, like the peak of gravity control at this point would be theoretically to create a black hole, but the risk of that would be too great for me to do something as such, at least not in the context of actual spatial physics. My guess is, though, I could basically create like the anime equivalent where it's like, oh yeah, there's a black hole, but the entire world and solar system's not being sucked in, just the opponent. Basically, I could create a gravity well. My manipulation would, increase at least 5 to 10-fold, as we know the Bankai powers are. I could actually, weigh down upon people just like with spiritual pressure, but without using spiritual pressure. I'm using the effect of my zanpakuto at that point. I could even maybe, use my hands to just kind of manipulate and just kind of hold someone in, then just kind of crush them in there just with gravity, just all weighing down, increase it to whatever, levels I need to. And I guess the trump move would be to create the anime equivalent of like a black hole, just, my Zanpakuto doesn't break, but it like just almost looks like it crushes into nothing. But then just all of a sudden a black hole, I like do that and then black hole suddenly appears and I can expand, increasing the gravitational pull. It is only fit, and I can, the risk would be to me, obviously, me being sucked in too. That's why I'd have to practice the move and, with smaller black holes and just, work on it until, I could just expand it and then contract it and all that. And then, I reseal the Zanpakuto and then my blade returns. So that could be like the Bankai finishing move in theory. The weaknesses on the Zanpakuto, I mean, it's not a melee Zanpakuto. It's still a sword. It's not like you couldn't take melee shots. It's just not a melee type. That being said, the Zanpakuto's ability makes, physical contact very difficult in terms of my opponent. It would not be immune to something that bends space or time, though. Like that Raiga, I believe it is. Raiga that Kagerosa had. Technically speaking, that was manipulating space. And it would have no effect on, like, say, that hole, the portal he makes with that. So, space and time-based type of techniques would be immune. Gravity can bend light, but only when you're talking about singularly. So, light-based attacks, gravity wouldn't affect those at all. I'm trying to think of anything else. Some keto-based techniques would probably be immune to the effects of the Zanpakuto as well, because some of those are based on light. I'm just trying to think of off the top of my head any other weaknesses I would consider this Zanpakuto having. And I mean, it would be very dangerous. I'd have to work hard to. It's kind of like Rukia's. I'd have to work hard to master that final ability, because that ability could be a double-edged sword in the most real sense of the me dying instantly kind of thing. But ultimately, that is what I believe personally my Zanpakuto is. It is a gravity manipulating one. Now, I mean, if I were to think on it harder, I do think I'm either an elemental or a keto type. I don't see myself as a straight on melee with like a keto ability. No, I do see myself as a bit more finesse than that. I also don't see myself as a living creature type, despite my love for animals. I just don't think that really lends itself to me. But that is just my opinion. Or like a nondescript, like a poison type or an illusion type. I don't really see myself as any of those per se. But it is just my opinion. If you, from what you can tell about me, my personality, how I've described myself, how you see me, what would you believe my Zanpakuto to be? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, want to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. And hit that bell if you want to be notified. I'll be back pre-recording my Who Would Win for tomorrow. Until then, thanks for watching and see you later.